And this afternoon, President Trump is teasing a big announcement happening in the next hour. Reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trading partners. The details are scarce, but the idea is hiking tariffs on imports to match the rate that other countries charge for American products. The move comes ahead of the president's meeting today with the Prime Minister of India, which has a trade surplus with the United States. The president has also called India a tariff king and a big abuser of trade ties. But critics worry the cost of the tariffs will ultimately be passed down to American consumers who are being hammered right now by rising inflation. Joining me now to hopefully add some more details to this conversation, White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. Kevin, thank you for joining us. I'll start with the obvious question, which is, what do you expect these reciprocal tariffs to look like? Can you give us some examples?
Oh, for sure. And our expectation is that there's going to be a meeting in the Oval any moment now. And so I think when I'm done here that we're probably heading over there, and then you'll find out everything you need to know about all this. But of course, it's great to share the president's great ideas right now as well. The bottom line is that if you look at the tariff that we charge other countries, that it's a very, very low number, depending on exactly how you do the math. It's sort of, let's call it 2.5% to 3%. On all products that come into the U.S. And that most of our trading partners are way above that, often by a multiple of 2. And even really close friends of ours all over Europe and so on are charging 6s and so on. And Taiwan, I think it's 11. India is a number that's very, very high. It's going to be, my guess right now, say 20. And so the point is that President Trump has always felt like that people need to treat Americans with respect. And that if they're charging us a big, big cost, if we sell stuff over there, that's much bigger than what we charge them if they bring stuff over here, so then it's disrespectful, and it's something that should change. And
then
so
Kevin,
I think
is that? Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but is that then on a good-by-good basis? If one rate is at 11% or one rate is at 20%, are you going product by product and matching tariffs from every other country? How would this exactly work?
That's the kind of detail that will come out once the EO is out, and then the USTR and the Commerce Department start to, enact the actual reciprocal trade. But for now, the idea that I think that we all agree about is that we should treat people. It's like the golden rule: treat people the way that they treat you, and hope that they treat you well. Yeah.
I recognize not wanting to get in front of the president, but we had seen some reporting from our friends at CNBC that these tariffs would not go into place immediately. There would be some weeks or months between, maybe April 1st as a date for them to begin. Is that right?
You're going to see timing and all the information you want on that, within the hour. But yes, I can't get ahead of the president, who's about to talk about this in the Oval sometime soon.
I wondered if you might say that. So then I want to ask a broader
I'm sorry,
question
I did,
here.
But yes, it's the correct answer.
That's okay. I want to ask a broader question here, though, because nearly all economists have said that tariffs will be bad for the American consumer. So what does the president know here on tariffs that seemingly every other economist doesn't?
That it's just false that it's necessarily bad for consumers. And a way to think about it is imagine right now we did the estimate that last year U.S.-based companies paid foreign governments $370 billion in taxes. Meanwhile, foreign companies paid the U.S. $57 billion in taxes. So we mailed foreign governments $370 billion in taxes, and those taxes are being paid for by U.S. citizens. And so if you think that asymmetry is something that could be addressed, could be improved upon, and if we did that, it would be good for U.S. citizens. Right? Is it good for U.S. citizens to mail $370 billion to them while they're sending $57 billion to us? And are we supposed to keep doing that because of some economic model that doesn't have the whole real world in it, says that we're better off because of inflation if we keep sending $370 billion to foreign governments? It just doesn't make sense. And so if you'd like, we could go to the blackboard and talk about the economic modeling and the elasticity of supply versus demand and all that stuff. But I usually save that for Ali Velshi.
I will happily, as a fellow AV, you can do whiteboards and blackboards with both of us. But then given the fact that you say this is false, can you, without invoking the past administration, guarantee that prices won't rise because of these tariffs?
Prices move up, prices move down. That's the way the world works, right? The economy.
Yeah, but you're an economist. You forecast trends like this. So will consumers see prices rise?
My expectation is that prices will fluctuate. And that when economists study the fluctuations of the prices, that they'll wonder what the causes were, and there will be many. And so am I confident that there won't be strong evidence of a price effect of tariffs? Yes, I am confident.
But there's also a CBS News poll that shows a majority, 66%, who say the president, not Biden, but Trump, isn't doing enough to lower prices. So what do you say to them, given this landscape of more tariffs likely coming?
Well, I'm always very respectful of what people say. And the fact is that we just found out last week, for example, that the Biden jobs record was 1 million jobs fewer than we thought. And we found out yesterday that the last print of inflation that was during President Biden's administration was way higher than the Fed or anyone expected. And so inflation got out of control. Stagflation emerged in the previous administration, and we're fixing it with an all-of-the-above strategy. And what we're doing is we're fixing macroeconomic policy with the reconciliation bill. I was up speaking with the Speaker of the House yesterday. We're going to reduce spending, the inflationary spending, but also have a big increase in supply, because increased supply, that lowers prices. Reduced government spending, that helps lower prices. That's the macro effect. But we're also looking at every other little thing that we can look at, including deregulation and even the price of eggs and what we can do about avian flu. It turns out that President Biden's team didn't have an avian flu strategy, and now we're about to have one as soon as Brooke Rollins is at the Department of Agriculture. And so in the end, though, I agree with your point that if people still believe what that poll said 6, 7, 8 months from now, then we should, of course, be concerned about that. But I expect that they won't, because they're going to see the positive effect of all these things. And then finally, it's not just me. If you look at what's happening to the 10-year Treasury, which is the best guesstimate of whether we're going to get inflation under control or not, it's gone down about 40 basis points over the last couple of weeks as our policy announcements have come out. And that 40 basis points has saved American taxpayers just in the last 2 weeks, going forward for the year, $40 billion. $40 billion. So there's $40 billion that financial markets say that we don't have to spend next year because of positive sentiment about our inflationary or disinflationary measures. And so that's good news for me. But the proof will be in the pudding. We have to get that stuff enacted, and then it's got to work the way we expect. And
Kevin,
we're highly confident it will.
You mentioned many things that I would love to talk with you more about, but far be it from me to keep you from the Oval. I do have one question, though, that should be a quick answer. When you talk about dealing with inflationary measures, it's why Jerome Powell has said he does not want to continue to decrease rates. Do you agree that he's the man for the moment right now at the Fed?
I've known him for a long time, and that really is a judgment for the president, and I've not discussed it in this term with him yet. I haven't, but I will.
Kevin Hassett, get to the Oval. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.